Yo, what the dealio, everybody? Hello, one and all. Welcome to the Newscast number 111. Dealio, everybody. It is yours truly, Hakeem Johnson, back in the flesh. I can hear myself, so I don't have to keep asking you guys if you can hear my voice. I know I'm good. Welcome. Episode 111. It's been about, I think, 2 months since we've done a new episode of the Newscast, but I figured today would be a very appropriate time to bring back the Newscast. So I have missed a lot of things going down in the wonderful world of pro wrestling, and we are going to talk about a lot of things, at least recently, that we need to address here. But before I get into any bits, before I get into any news items here and there, I do want to send my condolences to the late, great, beautiful Bobby Eaton, who passed away 2 days ago, resting at his home. One of the greatest tag team specialists of all time. Beautiful Bobby, Sir Earl, Bobby Eaton. For me, I know that the Midnight Express with him or Stan Lane or him and Dennis Conroy with the great manager of Jim Cornette, I was not born at the time of their greatness of the Midnight Express, but that doesn't mean you can't go back and discover and learn about history. Beautiful Bobby Eaton, you talk about a lot of people, a lot of wrestlers from every spectrum, old school, new school, from different promotions, different countries, have given their condolences and said a lot of great things about Bobby and how he was a nice and gentle, kind soul amongst a lot of people. For me personally, one of my favorite Midnight Express matches, for me personally, I posted it on my personal Twitter, my new one, by the way, at Hakeem Wins Again, which we will get into later, but I posted something. It was the Midnight Express taking on Stan and Bobby taking on Ric Flair and Barry Windham at the 4th Clash of the Champions. One of my personal favorite tag team matches. I'm not going to spoil anything if you haven't seen it, but go ahead and check it out if you haven't. When people say that the Midnight Express is one of the greatest tag teams of all time, they are not lying. They've had the feuds with the Rock and Roll Express, the Four Horsemen, the Fantastics. You can go up and down the list and you'll see a lot of things about the Midnight Express that a lot of tag teams to this day emulate. And even if you weren't like a Midnight Express guy, he was part of the Blue Bloods in WCW with William Regal back in that time period as well. I just wanted to send my condolences to Bobby Eaton. I know that a lot of people are going to miss him, and I'm assuming, like you've been seeing all week since the announcement, that we'll have more tributes and dedications to him as the days go by and all that. So I wanted to make sure I acknowledge the great, beautiful Bobby Eaton before we even get started on the Newscast. But be that as that may, we are also here for another funeral here this evening. And folks, I don't know what to tell you. I don't even know what to tell you. I know. Hakeem Adamas. Your boy was right, folks. Mark it down. Now, granted, I can't go back to my old account at Hakeem Wins because it's been unfortunately taken down, and I don't know how it got taken down. I don't know who did it. I don't know for what reason. I could probably speculate. But I'm going to just warn you now. If you are a Fed apologist or you're going to try to defend what we're going to get into here in this episode tonight, I advise you to press the back button or press X right the hell now, because there will be no sugarcoating on this show tonight. But besides, when the hell has the newscast ever sugarcoated anything? But tonight, for sure, there will be some harsh realities that are going to be addressed here tonight. So I'm warning you now. I don't want you to get on your panties and get on your tight wads and go on Twitter and Reddit or wherever and cry like a bitch. Today, we're going to talk about a lot of things that have come to reality. Period. So, let's get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get right into it. As you know, last night was being deemed as NXT Black Friday, as 13 NXT stars were cut and released. And this was happening during the episode of Smackdown. I shouldn't even ask this question because I should know the answer. How do you cut talent during your live show? Because now you're just taking everything you were trying to build on SmackDown, which wasn't much to begin with, and now have completely taken it away because of all these talent releases going on. But let's go ahead and address it right now. Let's go ahead and go into this Forbes article that really gets into the whole ordeal of this thing. So, as stated, WWE has released more than a dozen NXT superstars, including former North American champion Bronson Reed and former Undisputed Era member Bobby Fish, but the company's 2021 firing may not stop there. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful.com was the first to report the news of WWE's latest mass release, which brings the total number of stars the company has let go in 2021 to nearly nearly 50. Imagine that. In the year of 2021, this company, during the pandemic, has released 50 talents on their roster. And then when you go to the next sentence here, and the total number of stars WWE has axed since last April is to more than 100. More than 100, ladies and gentlemen. During a pandemic, a global pandemic, nearly more than 100 superstars since the whole world shut down has been cut from WWE. Which is important, which I will get to that point later. Fellow NXT star Desmond Troy would later be added to the list of future endeavored stars, and Matt Man's podcast, Andrew Zaharian, adds that even more releases are expected. And you can see the tweet here, as you can see the list of talent released from the Sean Ross Sapp tweet. Let me just go ahead and name them off. Bobby Fish, Bronson Reed, Jake Atlas, Ari Sterling, Kona Reeves, Leon Ruff, Stephen Smith, Tyler Russ, Zakaria Smith, Asher Hale, Giant Zangier, Mercedes Martinez. And as you can see here, Andrew stating and retweeting, and more to come. WWE's latest mass release continues the company's trend of cutting superstars on a regular basis, a pattern that first began in April 2020. Since then, WWE has axed a boatload of top stars, including the likes of Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt, while also cleaning house in NXT, which serves both as a developmental territory and a third brand. So for those that are going to try to act like this company perceives NXT as a third brand, you can throw that out the window, because now the first wording, the first phrase before the third brand, a developmental territory. That is what this company is looking at NXT. They lost the Wednesday Night Wars. They got ran the hell back to Tuesdays. And now they are looking to reshuffle and reconstructure everything that you thought you knew and loved about NXT. Like I've been told you morons for 3 to 4 years now. Look at the proof now. Look at the proof now. This brand has been regarded as a failure. Triple H has been looked at as a loser. And now Vince McMahon and Nick Khan apparently are going to get their hands on this brand. And whatever you thought NXT was, even after me and people like me have tried to tell you, now you're going to really see the NXT you once loved and knew is officially over. But let's continue this article here. There has been rampant speculation that WWE Chairman Vince McMahon has been releasing so many superstars in order to cut costs in preparation for a potential sale of the company. Important. But WrestleNomics' Brandon Thurston, which I do recommend checking out, revealed back in June that many WWE investors were not under the impression that McMahon would be selling WWE. I talked with 5 people in the WWE investor community in the last 24 hours about the notion that the company's recent actions indicate they're preparing for a sale. Not one of them thought so. Well, of course you're going to think that with the legacy that this company has. You're going to think or going to hope that they're not trying to sell. As a shareholder, you would think that normally. According to PW Insider, the NXT releases are more so related to a planned overhaul of the NXT brand as a whole. Listen to this. PW Insider noted on their audio show this week that there has been talk of major changes coming for the NXT brand. Those changes would include a new logo, a new lightning, and a focus on younger talent, along with a different format to the show. The house cleaning appears to be part of the changes. One of the best booked brands in WWE, NXT hasn't been the same over the past year or so. The yellow brand lost the Wednesday night war to AEW Dynamite and has since moved to Tuesday nights. But ever since it jumped to the USA Network in 2019, it has steadily decreased in quality as many of the brand's biggest names, including the likes of Keith Lee, Bianca Belair, and Finn Balor, have moved to the main roster. I won't read the whole article. You kind of probably get the gist of what I'm getting at here. I wanted to show you some of my tweets that I had created as this was all going on. As you'll see here, I tweeted this on August 5th, so that was a mere 2 days ago. I was responding to something, I believe here. This is about Pete Dunne potentially leaving WWE after SummerSlam. I predicted that he's resigning, and it's looking like he might. I tweeted, "It is funny to me how WWE's management seems to be at such a disarray that you don't lock up these prominent talent on TV into contracts months in advance. Sounds like an episode to me." Javon Goodman, who follows me, said, "Honestly, it looks like if it were up to Nick Khan, he'll let every contract expire and turn WWE to a sitcom." And I basically replied, Nick Khan has no loyalty to the legacy, talent, or storytelling of the company. His job is to cut the expenses and dress up the company to be acquired, I said acquitted for some reason, to be acquired at top value to the highest bidder when the inevitable happens and WWE is sold. That's it. Anyone expecting otherwise is naive. And lo and behold, that is what the fuck I said. And we'll talk about Adam Cole in a minute, but I want to also get here. It's Black NXT Friday. Holy shit. Some of these names I didn't expect, to be honest, which I really didn't. Anybody that isn't on the top 5% of this company is expendable and will be in danger of getting cut. Anyone can get it. And as you can see here, Bronson Reed released a statement immediately following his cut saying, "Just got released from WWE. This monster is back on the loose. You don't know what you've just done." And I have to respect someone like Bronson Reed going out there saying, you know what, I'm not going to thank a company here. I'm going to go out and find other options to where I can really excel with my craft and my skill and my superstardom that I've gained. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am sick and tired of the narrative that a lot of drones and apologists and contrarians love to speculate on when it comes to this company when they do a lot of these moves like this. I am tired. I am more than annoyed and fed up with it. Here's the deal, folks. I've been saying it since I believe a good 2 or 3 years ago now. NXT is a mediocre brand. Period. If you have a problem with that, then go watch another stream or go watch another podcast that will try to tippy-toe around the real issues and not try to give you the actual honest answer. This brand has been mediocre for a solid minute. But because you had your takeover here, or you had certain superstars come into the brand, it masqueraded all the cracks that were showing underneath the sink. But now you couldn't even do that because the new kid on the block came in 2 years ago. And you saw what was going to happen. You saw what was coming. So what did you do? Instead of letting them do their own thing and have their own success come naturally, all you tried to do was stifle their success. And you expect me to feel sorry for the WWE? You expect me to feel sorry for Vince McMahon? You expect me to feel sorry for Triple H? Man, get the fuck out of here. For the past 2 years, this company and this brand in particular have tried their damnedest to stifle and undermine AEW for every single goal that they have tried to match up to, for every single goal that they have tried to live up to, every single goal that they have tried to grow within. This company tried their damnedest to get AEW out before they can even get started. And they failed every single time. You know why? Because for 2 decades, post-2001, when WCW and ECW both went out of business, there has been an arrogance, an aura of arrogance by this company and the fans that continue to defend it for free, by the way. There has been this aura of arrogance that has been traveling for the past 2 decades, for that when any other alternative or any other competition threatens a piece of WWE's pie, we've got to try to do our best to publicly shame it. We've got to do our best to publicly bring it down. We've got to do our best to make it seem like they're second rate, that they're low tier, that they're the minor leagues, that they're the Bingo Paul. They might be a pissant t-shirt company, if you will. I saw what they did to TNA, and I'm not trying to defend TNA's mismanagement and bad business decisions, because it ultimately was on them. But it's not to where WWE didn't think that they had no chance whatsoever and tried to bury them 6 feet underneath. They did it to Ring of Honor. They tried to do it to New Japan when they tried to expand here in the West. They tried to do it to Lucha Underground. So they thought they can try the same old tactics. They thought they can do the same game with AEW that they've done to all other competitors, alternatives, and other companies that have tried to threaten their piece of the pie. The bully tried to bully the new kid. But when the new kid punched him harder than the bully could ever punch him, oh, now we're feigning ignorance. Oh, now we're playing the victim here. Oh, now AEW are the bad ones for succeeding. Oh, AEW are the bad ones because they're signing all the ex-WWE talent. Oh, man, they're trying to buy themselves all these talents so that way they can succeed. Oh, Tony Khan, he's such a mark. The EVPs are infighting. Fam, get you a different dialogue. Get you a different narrative. That shit don't hit no more. Y'all are playing the old one-hit wonder beats, and they ain't hitting in 2021 like they were hitting in 2019. Say it with your chest. You are shook by this new company that are doing their best to give a different philosophy, a different alternative to wrestling fans that have been begging. Because damn sure this Fed won't do it for them, so now a company wants to do it for them. I'm not saying AEW is perfect. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm not saying AEW is the greatest promotion of all time. That's also what I'm not saying. They have their faults, and I have made it clear what those faults were. Check my timeline, old and new accounts. But I will be damned to allow these drones and these losers online that come in here and try to stifle growth for all wrestling fans and the industry in general. Hell, Nick Khan and Vince McMahon were joking about it this week. They're not a wrestling company anymore. Hell, they'll cut more talent just to give them more to AEW. And lo and behold, here we are tonight. Now, I don't follow NXT. I think that shit's mediocre. I'm tired of people acting like just because Raw is dog shit, that Smackdown and NXT, they're the good ones compared to AEW. They're the ones that are on AEW's level. Fam, no brand on that Fed is on the level of AEW. No brand on that company is on the level of New Japan. And New Japan's having a decline this year anyways. These brands are mediocre to plain dog shit. And I ain't going to allow people to keep trying to co-opt the momentum AEW has rightfully deserved because the Fed wanted to keep playing old school carny politics. We not sugarcoating tonight, folks. Don't come on this chat and try to defend a lot of these moves. Don't come in here and saying that it's business. Because you're right, it is business. But you also got to understand, y'all are making record profits. You are above the margin. You can afford, if not double, all of these talents you have released since April 2020 and give them a new contract. Double their salary. But because you need to meet that margin, because you got to make sure your profits are all secured, because you got to make sure your value is at the highest level, so that way when this company does indeed get sold to the highest bidder, you get the ultimate payout. I get what you're doing. I get the business aspect of what you're doing. I, in an indirect way, just defended Nick Khan because all he's doing is his job. A lot of people are mad at Nick Khan, and I'm not going to blame you fully to be mad at him. But he was brought into this company to do a job. And that is to reconstruct this company to get it sold to the highest bidder at the highest value for the ultimate payoff. That's it. He doesn't give a damn about the storytelling. He doesn't give a damn about any feuds being booked or being created. He doesn't care about any talent that could be of the $1 Million League to the jobbers on the below. He does not care. He's got a job, and he will do his job to the best of his abilities. What you should be mad at is Vince, because he has the final say. He has the final say. He has the majority shares of this company still. He can say to Nick Khan, look, don't cut this guy. Don't cut this girl. They're still in prominent feuds. They're still going to have prominent matches on my television. Don't cut them, at least for now. But Vince don't give a shit. I love all these stands and all these drones saying, oh, well, when AEW gets bigger, it's going to create more competition. He don't give a shit. Vince McMahon does not give a shit about competition in the sense that he does not care to directly go at another wrestling company. He might want to destroy them. He might want to stop them from growing. But for a back and forth tit for tat like it was back in the days of WCW, he's long past that. He just wants to get his payday and see the rest of his life post WWE. Ladies and gentlemen, again, I don't follow NXT. I think the product is trash. But I do keep tabs on things that happen on that show. I can recognize the fact that Bronson Reed was just the former North American champion and was looking to be called up to the main roster, having tryout matches, dark tryout matches. And they cut him. Bobby Fish just came back to feud with the Diamond Mine group or whatever. And now he's gone. Tyler Russ, who's in that group that they just built up, now he's gone. Mercedes Martinez, who just had a feud with Xia Li apparently, before getting knocked out, now she's gone. Folks, at the end of the day, you have to realize this company, and I want to talk straight directly to the drones out there. I want to talk directly to those that will still defend this company. Why? Honestly, why? They make it very clear. They make it very clear every single time that they don't like you. This company lets you know that they despise you for being a wrestling fan. They don't like you. They don't respect you. They would rather be wanting to get any other audience than wrestling fans. But because they know that wrestling fans will spend money on their product and defend their shitty product, they will have to deal with it. They've got to deal with wrestling fans. They don't want to, but they have to deal with the remaining fan base of hardcore WWE fans that they have left. Look around you, folks. If it wasn't clear now compared to a few weeks ago, NXT is a dead product. It's over. Had to hear Hunter in his last media call for NXT. You know what I heard? Because I'll repeat it again. You know what I heard? I heard a man that knew it was over. When I heard Triple H on that media call for NXT, it sounded like a man that knew that it was over. A defeated man that knew that his time was about up being the executive of NXT. A man that knew that Vince McMahon was about to run roughshod and he would have no control like he once did. A man that was a failure as a booker and an egocentric executive that couldn't let things go and wanted to talk his shit about AEW, but when he got punched in the mouth, now he wants to tuck his tail and run back to Tuesdays. I don't want to hear that shit about, the NBA, NBC, and Universal bought hockey. It was a convenient excuse to get NXT the fuck out of Wednesday, because they were losing. Because they're losers. And they lost. I'd have more respect for Triple H if he said, you know what, we tried to pick a fight with the new kid, we didn't win, and it's a lesson learned that maybe we can just try to improve our brand and focus on NXT from this point forward. I'd respect him more if he came out and said that. I was sick and tired of it years ago, and I'm still sick and tired of it now. People defending Triple H as if I'm supposed to feel sorry for him. I don't feel sorry for that man, not one iota. I'm sorry. Am I being a little too harsh? Can I bring this back real quick? Do people remember that? Do people remember that bullshit? The monopolization of NXT across the world? Does anyone remember that? Do people want to still give Triple H the benefit of the doubt in 2021? Same man that worked a bunch of marks in the UK wrestling scene to completely destroy that thriving wrestling scene to create NXT UK, which is now a dark abyss of nothing. Same man that tried to do NXT Japan. But no company wanted to partner with them. Remember, he tried to go to Rossi at Stardom and try to offer Rossi a Hall of Fame spot if Stardom was their woman feeder for NXT Japan. And Rossi said, what the fuck are you talking about? Tried to buy Noah. Didn't work. Cyber Agent stepped in. Tried to do All Japan. Didn't work. Uncle June was coming anyways until the COVID happened. Not to mention the circulating Yakuza rumors. You have to pay a lot of things, and it's not just money, to get a spot in Japan as a wrestling company. Anybody want to still give Hunter sympathy? This brand is dead. Let me be clear. I read it just a few moments ago. They are trying to revamp NXT with new lighting, new logo, with one of the worst logos I've ever seen from a wrestling company that Triple H probably co-signed. Dumbass. They're trying to revamp everything. They're trying to WWECW NXT now. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. You guys forget. Remember when WWE brought back ECW? First few months, let Paul Heyman have all the control as an executive. But then when Paul Heyman didn't really fit into the current plans of ECW, then WWE stepped foot and made their own version of ECW. That's exactly what's about to happen here. Triple H tried, he failed, and now Vince McMahon, and now Kevin Dunn, and now Bruce Pritchard, and Nick Khan, they are all going to get their hands on this brand. And a lot of you, not on this chat maybe, but a lot of you are going to defend it. And if you're going to defend it, fine. But say it's out of the loyalty for the company. You don't give a shit that these talents have been cut. Because what just happened to Bray Wyatt a couple of days ago? Bray Wyatt, one of the top stars of your company. The Fiend. One of the worst gimmicks in modern wrestling history. The Fiend, of all people, got cut. And instead of defending your boy, you just said, oh, well, The Fiend, he was a lot of money. They come and go. He'll be back. Your loyalty is to the brand. It's not to the industry. It's not to professional wrestling. It's not to the talent. It's to the brand. And that's exactly what they want. They don't want any other superstar being bigger than the brand. Alright? And I hear a lot of people saying, well, I can't wait till AEW cuts people. Who have AEW cuts during this pandemic? Not let the contracts go out. That's different. Who have AEW let out that wasn't a nuisance or that wasn't a troublemaker? Same thing with Impact Wrestling. Same thing with New Japan. Same thing with Ring of Honor. Who have they let out their contract prematurely, compared especially to the WWE? I don't want to hear it. And you know what? I think I finally get it now. I think I finally get why people to this day in 2021, despite all the things this company has done recently, I think I get why they defend them this hard. I think I understand it now. And I think it's this. It's their dream to defend a company that they once cherished. It's the same bullshit that these wrestlers do every single time they come in here. Look at the dude in front of this picture right now, Jake Atlas. Was one of the standouts of PWG 2 years ago, along with Jungle Boy, along with Bandito. And then instead of people telling him don't go to the Fed, he goes there. Why? Because it was his dream. He's got to go there for his dream. Well, y'all got to wake up. It's time to wake up. Y'all too grown to keep saying that the dream still is something that I need to chase for. If you really believe that, if you truly believe that, then at least say why you're going there. If you're going there for the financial security, for the money, that's all well and good. But then say that being the case. Say that then. Don't say because you're going to be treated perfectly in WWE. They just cut Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt. Nobody is guaranteed as safe unless you're part of that top 5% in that roster. One of my favorite bits of Wrestling Observer Radio is when Jungle Boy will be brought up during the AEW and NXT TV reviews that Dave and Brian do. And Dave, anytime Jungle Boy is brought up, or every time Jake Atlas is brought up on NXT, he would mention the fact that, man, those are the two guys that people thought who would be the success story between the two, Jungle Boy or Jake Atlas. And right now it's looking like it's Jungle Boy, and Jake Atlas missed an opportunity. One of my favorite bits, because it absolutely illustrates the different philosophies. God, I wish I had my old account right now, because I remember that tweet that I made about saying that there are two philosophies right now in this industry that are fighting each other at this moment. It is collaboration versus monopolization. That's the battle here. And one of those things are going to dictate the remainder of this decade for professional wrestling. I said that shit, and the people and the losers and the drones that tried to quote tweet that tweet that I did, boy, these people, they have no other thought other than defend this company. They are robots. These people have no sort of self-reflection or any self-esteem. These people are who they are. They will defend every and anything that this company does, good, bad, or otherwise. Can you imagine if Jungle Boy was at NXT right now? Honestly, imagine it. Imagine if Jungle Boy was on NXT right now. Imagine if Lee Johnson, who just wrestled Miro at Dynamite for the TNT title, was at NXT right now. Sammy Guevara, Chris Statlander, Britt Baker, Red Velvet, MJF. The list goes on and on, folks. You know exactly what the fuck would happen. I need people to finally be honest, because it's at this point, the drones are who they are. I make it always very clear that there are drones and that there are WWE fans. The WWE fans, I really don't have a problem with, because I know that they do prefer WWE as their wrestling, but they will at least address a lot of these things that I'm addressing and ask themselves why. But the drones, there is no hope. I have come to the point now where I will not debate, I will not argue, and I will not discuss any of these things with drones, because they will not argue in good faith. So I block them. Period. And that's really the crutch of this whole thing, folks. That's really the crutch of this whole thing. For 4 decades, the WWE have used their power, have used their money, and have used their legacy to fool people into thinking that they are still the be-all, end-all of professional wrestling. That may have been true a couple of years ago, but now in this new era of pro wrestling as we're heading into 2021, going into 2022, that no longer stands to be the case. There is way too many good wrestling out there now for people to still think WWE is still the best in the world. And I don't think WWE understands with all these actions that they're doing how much they are driving off fans, lapsed fans, old school fans, young fans, mildly interested fans. Let's look at AEW. 4 weeks in a row, above 1 million viewers. Their demo in the 18 to 49 is now creeping almost 0.5. The rumors of CM Punk and Bryan Danielson are coming. Punk in particular in 2 weeks. Folks, take off the rose-tinted glasses and smell the air. Check outside what's going on. Learn. The tide is turning. The shift is happening right before your eyes, right now. People denying that at this point do not want to learn. They do not want this industry to win. There is a forbidden door, a forbidden universe happening right now. And people still want to act like things aren't changing. Shit's changing. AEW Dynamite is creeping closely, slowly but surely, to the demo ratings of the 18 to 49 with Raw and SmackDown. Football season is coming in a month, ladies and gentlemen. The product is in shambles, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I know The Rock's coming back. Alright, I checked everything, folks. I'm aware of everything. I know The Rock's coming back sometime in the fall. I know John Cena's got to stay a little bit longer to get those ratings at a certain level. I understand that the Goldbergs, the Undertakers, and the Brocks are on a phone call away after SummerSlam. I get all that. But they can't save you forever. Got Becky Lynch here, who I don't even think is as big of a draw as people think she really is, personally, but when that doesn't work, what now? Look at this week's Dynamite. Nobody's calling this week's Dynamite a star-studded show. Hell, they went back to Daly's place. It wasn't a special show, and they still got above 1 million. This is called momentum. And either you recognize it, or you will be left behind. As far as the independent scene, the independent scene should be giving Nick Khan a fruit basket and a thank you letter for last night and these other months coming up. Because in an era where the independent scene, in my opinion, has been utter shit to the lowest of low levels, letting the most below average talent co-opt the independent scene and make the entire scene completely atrocious, now you've got talent that are free agents that can make it better. That's the game of it all. That's the silver lining of all these NXT releases and WWE releases coming. They have options now to make money. They can go to an AEW. They can go to an Impact. They can go to an ROH or MLW. Hell, they can even go to an NWA for all that is worth. They can go to a New Japan or Noah. Or maybe they don't have to even do wrestling for a minute. They can do our own podcast. There are options in today's wrestling world is what I'm getting at. People thinking that the WWE is the be-all, end-all to where you either make it here or you never were successful, that dies on this year, in this decade. That dies. It is completely embarrassing. Hey, Hunter, it's over. Pack up this brand and shut it down. You thought you can bully the new kid, you got right out of your own block. And now your best wasn't good enough. It's over. It's time to understand that the game's over. NXT to me is a dead brand. NXT to me is a zombie brand. It'll still exist here and there. It'll still put up episodes and takeovers for people to be overjoyed about. But there's no buzz. Hey, did you know that Indy Hartwell and Dexter Lumis finally had their kiss and nobody gave a shit? Hey, did you know that Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly are still feuding? Nobody gives a shit. Stop getting invested into this brand. How can you be invested into this brand when your effing NXT World Champion is getting jobbed out and looking like the most utter geek on Monday nights? How can anybody be invested into the NXT brand in 2021 with all honesty, hoping that it's going to get better? When your own NXT champion is getting made to look like a jobber bitch, to being made to look like a geek, taking away everything that made him unique, and just making him look like a CAW character. I've seen better CAW characters than Karrion Kross as NXT champion. That's how bad this shit has gotten. Fuck it, you might as well. Go ahead and release Karrion Kross as NXT champion. Do it. What's the point? What's the difference? You don't think Nick Khan is looking at the expenses of the Performance Center that hasn't created a star since its start? That shit's on borrowed time too. You know, I was a skeptic of AEW when it first started. I didn't have much high hopes for AEW in their first year. But they eventually proved me wrong and proved that they can be a second tier, if not an alternative, in the mainstream professional wrestling world. And has made professional wrestling all the more exciting and interesting to be a part of. They did that. And people want to call, Tony Khan a mark and all this other bullshit. When people understand that Tony Khan, he's just like me. He's just like you. He's a wrestling nerd that loves wrestling and just wants to see it get better. He's us. He just has more money and more connections than us. But nonetheless, that's why a lot of people want to see him and AEW win. Look, at the end of the day, NXT tried its best, but it definitely does feel like a death of a brand. NXT as you once knew it, I will say it again if I have to keep repeating it. The NXT you once knew and loved is dead. It's gone. It's over. There's better alternatives now than NXT. Way better. Stop investing your time and energy and patience with NXT. It does not matter what happens to that brand anymore. Give up. Give up. Vince has already given up on it. He's already looked at NXT as a failure and Triple H as a loser. You might as well get along with Vince in his thought process as well. It's funny, Ronda Rousey and Tyler Breeze and Dolph Ziggler had a lot of bravado this week about how fans are fickle and how fans, they don't know what they want. And that fans don't give talent enough chance. But then they're awfully quiet when people that were in prime positions to succeed and want them to succeed, then they're all quiet. They don't want to speak as loud. They don't want to puff their chest as much. It's almost like those type of wrestlers are spineless cowards. I don't know. Maybe I'm just hallucinating. And like Andrew Zarian of Mat Men said, there's more coming. There are more releases coming. There's no hidden agenda with that. There are more releases coming. There will be more contract negotiations and debates happening. You can't stop it. Which does bring me to this man right here. The man that's been on the radar with a lot of people lately. That's been the talk of the town lately. Adam Cole, baby, if you will. Apparently, Adam Cole's contract that he extended that was supposed to end at the Great American Bash episode. The Great American Bash TV episodes, thank you. But he extended it to happen after SummerSlam. So I want to just add him here real quick. I want to read this article here really quick here. One of the biggest stories coming out of WWE currently is that of the contract of Adam Cole. Since joining WWE, Cole has been a standout on NXT, becoming the longest-reigning NXT champion. Yada, yada, yada. However, WWE failed to realize when his contract had ended. It actually finished up a few weeks ago, but Cole agreed to an extension to finish up his feud with Kyle O'Reilly in NXT. Today, a major attempt to get a longer deal was made as Cole met with WWE CEO Vince McMahon ahead of Smackdown Live. In a report from Fightful.com, their sources within WWE noted that there was a high-level meeting booked between Adam Cole and Vince McMahon for tonight ahead of SmackDown Live, which was last night. Cole was not previously intended to be at SmackDown and is not planned to appear on the show. While we rarely find out what happens behind closed doors in WWE, given what we know about the situation in Cole, it's not hard to imagine the purpose of the meeting. It's previously has been reported that Adam Cole has turned down multiple contract offers from WWE, so this is likely the big pitch to try and keep him on board. Cole has heavy links to the AEW roster, yada, yada, yada. Right now, Cole is expected to finish up his feud with Kyle O'Reilly in NXT at NXT TakeOver 36 later this month. His extension will then run out, making him a free agent. We can expect him to lose at TakeOver either way, even if he is to stay in WWE. Cole has run out of things to do in NXT. So basically right now we're playing the Adam Cole lottery game, folks. Now, if you've been following me on my new account, Hakeem Wins Again, I pretty much gave you my thoughts here. I personally think that Adam Cole is going to re-sign with the WWE. And the reason why I say that is because it's not necessarily about the money. Because to me, Adam Cole is somebody that he can go to AEW, he can go to New Japan, he can go back to Ring of Honor, he can even go to Impact and make reasonable money that'll make him secure with what he does with wrestling. My reasoning behind it is because Adam Cole has not been shy to tell a lot of people that he has a dream to be a part of WWE. He has always wanted to make it to WWE ever since he started wrestling. It's no secret. And, with reports saying that he is very close to Triple H and Shawn Michaels, and he has been a prominent figure in NXT for all these years, he really has no reason to leave. Well, in his perspective, he has really no reason to leave. However, I will say this. We just had 13 people cut from NXT, with more coming. If I'm Adam Cole, here's what I would have done. I would have not went to that meeting. I would have not gone to that meeting with Vince McMahon. If I know that my contract or my extension is about to run out by each passing day, I would let Vince and whoever else know, look, my contract's coming up. After SummerSlam, I'm going to be a free agent. I don't have any no-compete clause, so I don't have to wait for 30, 60, or 90 days to go anywhere. I can leave the WWE by Sunday night and be at AEW Dynamite the following Wednesday without any legalities. So, if you really want to keep me, I have a couple of perks and demands that I expect on my contract. If I'm Adam Cole, because listen, you're Adam Cole, right? You have been one of the prominent figures of NXT for the past couple of years. You are a former NXT World Champion. You have the leverage in this situation. You are the guy that everybody wants to sign. You are the guy that everybody wants on their roster. You see other companies. You see New Japan expanding out west. You see Ring of Honor now starting to pick up steam. You see Impact Wrestling doing the same thing. You see AEW signing anybody and everybody that can be an asset to their company. If I'm Adam Cole, I'm telling Vince McMahon, I will not meet with you or anybody else until I am guaranteed the following perks on my contract. I want main roster money at a high value price. I want a guaranteed referendum that I will be a main roster world champion within a span of a year. If I'm Adam Cole, I'm saying that I want some form of creative control, and I want a percentage of the merchandise sales. And quite frankly, that's just the bare minimum of what he would ask for. If I'm Adam Cole, I have the leverage. I have all the cards on my hand. I am not meeting with Vince McMahon until I am guaranteed all of that is in my contract. Because otherwise, we have nothing else to talk about. I don't care about your brass ring speech. I don't care if you take a liking to me. I don't care if you think that I can be an asset to your company down the road. No, we're talking business. And when it comes to business, I'm going to set the high value where I want to set it. And if you can't match it, then I will go to somewhere else where they can match it. Unfortunately, like I just stated, Adam Cole is one of those people that is a mark for the WWE rather than the actual business. So, all they would have to say is, look, I can give you $1 million a year, and you can be called up to the main roster. And there you go. And Adam Cole will probably look at that and say, oh, gee, Willie, they really value my opinion. They really value my talent. Of course I'll sign. And then 5 years later, we're talking about the cautionary tale of what Adam Cole could have been. Look, I'm not even necessarily saying he should go to AEW. All I'm saying is that it's an option. All I'm saying is that I look at a Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman being cut despite being top-tier talent that moved a lot of merch. I'm looking at the 12 to 13 NXT releases last night. Talent that were being cut while you were negotiating a contract with Vince. If I'm Adam Cole, I'm taking a big, deep breath of what I expect this contract to be going forward. Because I'll tell you right now, I don't trust Vince McMahon. There have been reports saying that Vince took a liking to Adam Cole last night. I don't give a shit. That sounds like to me Vince is lying. That Vince is trying to overpromise Adam Cole a lot of these things just to get him to sign, because they know that if they let Adam Cole walk and go to Dynamite the following Wednesday, that it would be a huge blow to the company and another huge blow to NXT, which is basically running on fumes anyways. They know this, so they have to play damage control. The question is, does Adam Cole bite the bait? And unfortunately, folks, I think he's going to. I do think Adam Cole is just going to look for a way to say, you know what, that's enough, I'll sign this contract. That's enough leverage that I can use to get this contract. That's just the way I see it. Yes, I'm aware that Adam Cole has friends in AEW and ROH. His girlfriend is the women's world champion at AEW. I get all that. But sometimes that doesn't really matter. It's about business. And at the end of the day, people will do what they will have to do. I know Pete Dunne is also somebody that will have his contract coming up after SummerSlam 2, but I think he's re-signing as well. And quite honestly, I'm not saying Pete Dunne's a bad wrestler. I'm not even saying that at all. I just don't have any really interest in him personally. And after the remarks that he made about the British wrestling scene when NXT UK was coming up, I really don't give a shit about Pete Dunne and what he really wants to do. So, but it does say a testament to where, look at all these people that are being let go and just leaving the brand, leaving the company. You know, we haven't seen it to this state since the 90s. You know, if I'm Adam Cole, I'm looking at Malachi Black from Wednesday and how he was made to be an instant star on Dynamite. You know, I'm looking at the FTRs. I'm looking at Jon Moxley. I'm looking at all these guys that were in the WWE but were not making any gains, if you will, into their career. There was no meaningful task at hand with a lot of these talents there. And look, I mean, put it this way. Remember Cesaro, everybody? Ladies and gentlemen, remember Cesaro earlier this year? You know? His contract was coming up. And then all of a sudden, oh, hey, here's an Intercontinental title for you. Hey, U.S. title. Hey, here's a push for you. Remember when people thought Cesaro... Remember when people thought Cesaro was getting a push just as his contract was coming up earlier this year? And then he resigns, and now the push is where exactly? That's my point. If I'm Adam Cole, I would really take caution that just because they offer you $1 million, just because they offer you this and that, doesn't mean they will live up to their word. Because they have no reason to. Once you sign on the dotted line for 3 to 5 years, they couldn't give a damn to keep any promises. And the history supports that. It doesn't matter if it's Adam Cole. They've done it to everybody. So what would make it any different for Adam Cole? So, I'm sure we'll find out what will happen with Adam Cole in a couple of days. Again, I think he's resigning, but I could be wrong. Hell, I might be wrong. Something might come up at the 11th hour, and Adam decides to leave after SummerSlam. It could happen. It's been a crazy past couple of weeks and days in professional wrestling, but we'll see. We will see. But be that as that may, let's talk about SummerSlam. Apparently, a lot of matches have been added to SummerSlam coming from last night, so I do want to talk about it. Let's look at the card so far. It stands on Wikipedia. Here you go. Triple threat match for the WWE Raw Women's Championship. Nikki Ash defending the title against Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley. God damn. How have they made this story, dude? Their champion is basically... their champion is basically a loser. A geek. That just got lucky by winning the title. While Charlotte and Rhea are the real stars here. And I don't see Nikki holding onto that title for very long. I really don't get it. I know Nikki came up with a hero gimmick. That doesn't mean that doesn't mean shit to me. If it's a bad gimmick, if it's a bad angle, if it's a bad creative, whether it's from the writers or from the talent themselves, it doesn't matter. Besides, the only hero that I acknowledge is Hyper Misao. So, there you go. Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman defending the Universal title against John Cena. I'm not as good as Paul Heyman, but, I mean, the effort was there. But, yeah, let's talk about this match a little bit here. Because I saw this tweet before I went on the newscast here. Is it just me? Or has this feud been underwhelming? Because here's the thing. What has this feud ultimately been about? Really think about it. I'm not talking about their past with each other. I'm talking about right now. What has been the actual story in this feud? What, that Cena came back from Hollywood to WWE because Roman's being a dickhead? Really? Is that all the best you've got between these two? Now, here's what I would have done. If you want my honest opinion, here's how I would have done the feud. It's okay to borrow from the past, so why not do it for these two? I would have built this exactly the way Rock versus Brock at SummerSlam 2002 was built. John Cena, the former star coming from Hollywood, is now coming into a new world in the WWE, and Roman Reigns at the top of the mountain. The last time these two fought, Roman Reigns was the winner. And now Cena has to prove to Roman, to the fans, and to himself, if he still is the guy, if he still is the man. So what I would have had them doing, I would have had John Cena going to some disclosed gym location and working his ass off. I'm talking about workout videos the same way The Rock did it to prepare against Brock Lesnar. I would have had John Cena doing the same thing while Roman is running roughshod on the Smackdown roster for those that defy his order and defy his is top echelon as the Universal Champion. And I also honestly would have had Paul Heyman be a little doubtful of Roman Reigns being able to retain here. Because then you can give up the vibe that maybe Paul is starting to lose faith in Roman Reigns, and that could even create a very unpredictable situation in this match. Plus, if Cena were to win this title, that would be title number 17. He would officially surpass Ric Flair, who's no longer in the company, and this company is so petty that they would do it. So that's what I would have done. I would have built this up as the Clash of the Titans. Not Lashley and Goldberg. These two. The past against the present. Does John Cena, the man that has dealt his hand in Hollywood as of late, does he still have what it takes to be not just the top guy of the WWE, but as a WWE Universal Champion? Does Roman Reigns truly acknowledge himself as the head of the table? Can he beat Cena again? Can he retain the title? Can he still be dominant? And does Paul Heyman still think he has enough faith in the bloodline? That's how I would have built this feud. I don't need Cena doing all these insider term shooting promos. I don't need Roman Reigns, as funny as some of them have been. I don't need Roman Reigns doing his usual dull monologue, trying to become this sort of mafia boss. I don't need it. Enough of this goof shit. Let's get into the nitty gritty and tough titties here. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I would have done. They didn't do that, and it's been kind of underwhelming. We all know Roman's winning. Okay? Cena's just here to do his job, increase the ticket prices, increase the ticket attendance, increase the ratings for the shows, give Roman his marquee match at SummerSlam, and he'll go back to what he was doing. So I get all that. But you could have at least made the ride fun getting there. And I guess, and to me, I just feel that they haven't done that, personally. Also, it's Bobby Lashley defending the WWE Championship against Bill Goldberg. That's right, folks. You heard me right. Bill Goldberg is back to win a title that nobody wants him to win. Again, I don't really watch Raw, Smackdown, NXT like that, but I do keep tabs and highlights when I find something interesting from that company. And Bobby Lashley, I mean, look, I watched Bobby Lashley during his TNA World Championship prime. I know how great of a world champion he can be, and it's been no different here becoming WWE champion. I get all that. And he's been dominant, so I have to give him credit. But here comes Goldberg. Here comes Goldberg because after all the goodwill they had of the fans coming back to the live shows, they've completely thrown it away, and now we're just bringing back old guys again to get shots that they don't really don't need. And I know that Jones like to defend it, saying, "Well, Bill Goldberg's a superstar. Bill Goldberg is going to increase the ratings." Dude, how long are you going to keep saying that? We all know the business that Cena and Goldberg and The Rock, when he comes in this fall, we all know what business they do. The question is, what are the long-term gains and effects for that? You guys got to start looking for different narratives to try to lie about. These ones aren't hidden anymore like you think they are. Because of the fact that you're defending Goldberg, coming in here to spear Lashley in under 5 minutes and become WWE champion, is that what you're defending here, really? Are you really going to die on this hill and defend that? Really? Really? That's what we're doing here, huh? Because if that's the case, why not let the Undertaker come back and defeat Roman Reigns? That's what you're telling me. You know, you're not a wrestling company anymore. You're a content production company. So it doesn't matter. You have all the money in the world. You don't have to really cater to what we want creatively. So of course a Goldberg will come back. So there you go. I do expect Goldberg to win. The Raw ratings haven't been impressive. I mean, I guess Bobby can win it back a month or two later, but it's like, who cares? Who would care at that point? Lashley already lost. Who cares? The Usos defending the SmackDown Tag Team titles against the Mysterios. Why? It's funny. I mean, Jey Uso. Sorry, not Jey. Jimmy Uso gets into a DUI situation once again and gets rewarded the tag team titles yet again. Oh my God, people defend this company. Who cares? The Usos were retained and nobody would give a fuck. There you go. And boy, Rey Mysterio, man. I mean, I know that he had to resign to keep his son here so that way he can have a future in the WWE, but God, Jesus Christ. If he could have waited another year, he would have been in AEW. And I think had him being in, I think if Rey had waited a year longer, him and AEW would have been something that could have been vital to that company at the time. And his son would have gotten way better training and way better acknowledgement of trying to move around the ring in and out than he is right now. But whatever. The decision has been made. Rey, after leaving the first time to escape the company, signed right back with them. It's the nature of the beast, folks. Bianca Belair defends the SmackDown Women's title against Sasha Banks. I guess that was made official last night. I will tell you that I was a fan of their match at WrestleMania Night 1 this year. I absolutely loved it. If you can go back and watch the WrestleMania reactions that we did on this channel, go back. We did the WrestleMania 37 reactions for Night 1 and 2. You'll hear me with a bunch of other guests on those videos. I loved Sasha and Bianca. I thought it was a star-making performance for Sasha, and it really captivated Bianca to being one of the stars that they are trying to focus until they probably cut her 3 years later. But for now, they did their damnedest to make her a star, so that has to be commended. So, in a way, I am looking forward to this rematch. Because honestly, who else? Who else can face Bianca at SummerSlam? Bayley's injured, and I bet you that feud was going to end before SummerSlam anyways. Who? Carmella? Liv Morgan? Zelina Vega? Fuck out of here. And then, I was looking for the overrated match that would be called the great match of the evening, and we got it. It will be Edge taking on Seth Rollins, or for some of you, Seth Rollins. Look, we knew it was coming since Edge came back. They have history, so I will commend them for that, but I don't give a shit. To me, Edge, his return has been disappointing. That's really the only way you can say it. Like, yeah, he'll get his pops, and his Rumble appearance was really good to see, but to me, I think Edge has been very disappointing in his return. And then Seth Rollins. It's always a fun time for me to dunk on Seth Rollins every single time. You already know the deal with Seth Rollins. To me, I find him to be a mid-talent, a guy that people think is a 4 or 5-star general when he's really a 3-star general, or maybe a 4-star general on a good day with a good opponent. To me, Seth Rollins, heel or face, he's not a top guy. He's just not. He is not the guy. He will never be the main eventer people keep thinking he is. He's not. Seth Rollins to me is somebody that is so stuck into the WWE bubble thinking that he is more valuable than what he really is, that he's going to think he can get a match out of Edge. And I just don't see it happening. And I just, with Seth Rollins, coming out here and talking about how the Thunderdome gave them more easy access to tell stories, or just translation for, the fans weren't able to hijack our stories and our shitty product, so it made it easier for us to work, which is what he should have said. But as that match is happening, and people are going to overrate it and think it's a match of the year contender, which it won't be, and that will be that on that. So that is SummerSlam for now. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I'm not going to say it's completely bad. I'm not going to say it's a completely horrible SummerSlam card. But, man, there's like maybe 2 matches that I give a fuck about. And that's Roman and Cena. And that's Bianca and Sasha. And no, this does not mean SmackDown is the greatest show in wrestling today. I'm tired of people bullshitting with that as well. It's just the lesser of the three. It's the best one out of the WWE brands. That's all it is. But other than that, yeah, this SummerSlam, I don't know, man. It's just, I don't see it to be anything other than the fans will carry the show and people will rate it higher than what it actually should be. And also, SummerSlam's on a Saturday night. It's 2 weeks from tonight. Which is funny because TakeOver will be the night after, and the Rampage at the United Center, which is being rumored to where CM Punk will debut, will be the night before SummerSlam. So there's a good chance that Chicago is the city that gets talked about that weekend instead of Las Vegas. Who knows? It is very possible. So, there you go. But, yeah, with that being said, let's get into some Q&A, folks. Q&A, questions and answers. If you guys have any questions that you want me to answer, let's keep it wrestling related. Let's do that. I usually give you guys free reign about topics, but let's keep it wrestling related this episode. If you have any questions that you guys want to send me, post it on the live chat and I will get to it. If I don't answer it, just keep posting it on the live chat until I eventually see it. So, yeah, I'll give you guys a couple of moments and seconds to give me some of your questions and comments about wrestling. Because we haven't had a new episode in a while, so I've missed a lot of stuff as it pertains to wrestling. So, let me know what's going on. Drinking some great water. Great water. Let's see. Let's answer some questions here. Missed you, brother. How are you doing? I'm doing fine. I mean, I know that I've been absent with ACW in a while, but I can tell you guys at least that this will be the month that I get back into ACW and putting together High Voltage. So that will be happening fairly soon. So don't worry about that. And yeah, what happened to my Kingo account? Yeah, it got permanently suspended. The account got permanently suspended, so I don't have it anymore. And they didn't tell me why, and I don't know who did it, but it's gone. But it's like, I don't take Twitter seriously like that, so it doesn't really bother me. I just have a Twitter to post my thoughts and opinions about things, so I'm not a part of any wrestling clique. I'm not here to be a part of wrestling Twitter or Reddit or any of that bullshit. I just have a Twitter to, speak my speech, if you will. Who will win, Sailor Moon or Raiko? I don't know what that is. I'm going to assume that's a CAW question. I haven't followed any CAW since being incognito, so my apologies, but that's just the way it is. Alright, is there a possibility in the future that Miss Pink Striker, Mayu Yamashita, will ever make an AEW Dynamite appearance? I definitely do think so. I definitely do think that Mayu, who is the current Princess Champion in Tokyo Joshi, I think it's long overdue. The only reason why she hasn't made the jump yet because she is the current champion. But once she drops the title, I suspect next year Mayu will have some form of AEW appearance. Whether it's Dynamite, Rampage, Elevation, Dark, I don't know. But I definitely do see her making her appearance. Sad topic. Your thoughts on Paul Orndorff's passing? Yeah, another unfortunate passing about Paul Orndorff, Mr. Wonderful himself. Again, I didn't get to grow up to watch Paul Orndorff have his rivalry with Hulk Hogan that began the first WrestleMania, but for what it was worth, the turn that he did to Hogan to create that event between him and Hogan really was something that was controversial for its time. I was more so the guy that was aware of Paul Orndorff when he teamed with Paul Roma to create the Pretty Wonderful tag team. So, condolences go to Paul Orndorff and his family and his friends. I'm sure they're still reeling from that loss, but Rest in peace to Mr. Wonderful. If you're TK and you're already thinking on replacing Kenny Omega, who do you pick? Jay White or Adam Cole? It's a good question. That's a really good question. Because it's funny because I'm not a huge fan of either one. Like, Jay White and Adam Cole, when they're good, they can be good. But I'm not a huge fan of them compared to others. I know Jay White's on Impact currently, doing what he's doing. And Adam Cole, like I just stated earlier on the newscast, who knows where that's going. But, man, if Kenny Omega had to be replaced in AEW, I think I would have to go with Adam Cole. And the reason why I'm going to go with him is because he can play babyface or heel quite fluently, more so than Jay White. And his style would be more compatible in AEW than I guess Jay White would be. Even though Jay White, I think, could thrive in AEW as well. But that's just my opinion. Let's see here. Are you angry at Max Caster's rap about Duke Lacrosse and Simone Biles? Yeah, look, I'm going to make this quick because I don't want to dwell into it like others have. Look, I wouldn't have done it. I more so didn't like it because I thought it was lazy. I thought it was a lazy verse. I've heard a lot of good Max Caster verses that are edgy or dark humor or controversial that I did like and don't apologize for. But this rap in particular, I just thought it was, I thought it was just lazy. I thought it was low effort hanging fruit. That it was just like the Duke Lacrosse thing, like, that hasn't been relevant in like 2 decades. I just felt like being shocked. That just felt like shock value for the sake of shock value. It wasn't intriguing or it wasn't clever or anything like that. So, I thought it was weak. I thought it was kind of trash. And people, I understand people have their feelings about the topics that were discussed about that. I don't think Max Caster truly believes those things. He's playing a character, even though I know that saying it the way he said it was probably not the ideal way to go about it. But if you are clever of a promo, there are ways you can do it. But the way Max Caster did it, I thought it was lazy. I thought it was low effort, and I just thought ultimately didn't really matter in terms of what he had to do. But Tony apologized. Max Caster is apparently laying low for the time being. I hope he kind of learns the lesson of where the line gets to be crossed with a public company like AEW. But for those calling for him to be fired and suspended, shut the fuck up. They apologized. They cut the fucking rap from Dark. They took down the Dark episode and cut it off. It's been done. Now shut up about it. Let's see. Thoughts on Triple H referring to Zack Ryder as a mark for himself. Yeah, the King of Kings calling anybody a mark for themselves. You know, I don't like to bring up Jim Cornette these days because I find him to be playing a gimmick to try to shill and coerce stupid marks to give them his money and attention. I don't like to bring up Jim Cornette in that aspect, but I will bring up this clip that you once said about Triple H and the fact that Triple H was never a draw. He was simply the guy that wrestled against the draw, which was either a Austin or a Rock or a John Cena or a Mick Foley or a Bret Hart or a Shawn Michaels. Yeah. Triple H to me is somebody that I won't say like he doesn't belong in his place in the wrestling world or his legacy should be undermined. But I do think there is some form of overratedness when it comes to Triple H. And the fact that he called Zack Ryder a mark for himself, why? Because Zack Ryder tried to do something innovative and tried to use the internet to get himself over, which a lot of wrestlers do right now, including yourself, Triple H, for NXT. But you want to call Zack Ryder a mark because he tried to get himself over and try to make some form of money for himself, because Lord knows you couldn't vouch for him to Vince to get some screen time for him. It's just another example of Triple H being full of shit and a lot of people buying the bullshit that he was always renovating himself or rehabbing his image. He used the NXT fan base and the NXT brand that Dusty built to try to get himself in with the hardcore marks or the super indie marks. And it worked for a while. But now, as you can see, the mask has dropped. So, Hunter is such a fucking loser. I swear to God. Let's see. Jacob, I have this problem with not enjoying long matches, whether it's CAW or real wrestling. I get bored even if a match lasted for 10 minutes long. Is there a way to fix it? I get what you mean, because I do think it's somewhat of a problem in CEW and pro wrestling where people think going 30, 40, 50 minutes for every main event or every big match that is corresponding with that main event should go that length. And it's just like, people need to know the story that they're trying to tell with each match. Sometimes a match may need to go 30 to 40 minutes. Some probably can go a good 15 to 20 minutes. Some may just need to go 10 minutes, and others may need to go less than 5 minutes. It depends on the story being told. I am not a fan of doing long matches for the sake of doing long matches. If you go back to HCW Victory, Sasuke and Deku was like about 25 minutes. But the story was that Sasuke was beating the shit out of Deku, but Deku kept coming back to fight and fight. That was stringing along people for the ride. Naruto and Luffy, the two biggest anime protagonists of their era, going almost 30 minutes for their main event match for the Impulse World title. That was to prove who was the best. Other than those two matches, and really just one match was the main event, no other match went close to that length. So I think CEW and pro wrestling need to learn that going long doesn't mean it's better. When it's time to go home, it's time to go home. Whether it's 5 minutes, 15 minutes, or 30 minutes, or even an hour. When it's time to go home, it's time to go home. And for pro wrestling, the crowd will let you know. For CAW, the story will let you know. So I get your sentiment. Do you think, JC, do you think New Japan should start depending more on their own talent domestically rather than the Gaijins, especially knowing that Jay White and Finjuice more likely will miss this year's G1? Well, they kind of have no choice right now. They only have the Gaijins that can really be in Japan for this long period of time while the Olympics are going on and the state of emergency is currently still active. But I think, with Japanese wrestling, you're always going to have Gaijins, especially ones that are great, be a part of any promotion within Japan. But I do think, you have Shingo as a champion. You have Himuru now cleared. You have the reliables like Okada and Tanahashi. That's still a strong roster in any other promotion. So I think what Gedo needs to do right now is he needs to focus. And I know circumstances were out of his hands due to COVID. To me, I get that, but that still doesn't mean you have to completely be lazy about it. Look, we're getting Shingo and Evil for the title. Who the fuck wants to see that? Who wants to see Evil challenge for the title again? Not me. But at the end of the day, I do think ultimately they're going to focus back on their domestic roster, but there will always be use for the Gaijins. And especially now that Jay White and Finjuice won't be a part of this year's G1, you have to assume maybe the juniors, like Himuru and Desperado, can get in. Personally, for me, I would like to see a Kojima in there. But I don't know, maybe we'll get like, Hinare and Okan. But I am more than confident to know that the spots will be filled. There will be no doubt, basically. Let's see here. God damn, these are a lot of questions. I do thank you for it, though, by the way. Let's see here. God damn. Thank you for the questions, by the way. I've clearly been missed. The newscast has clearly been missed. And I appreciate you guys for watching tonight's episode. But let me get to these questions here. Do you think Matt Cardona won the GCW World Championship and letting the fans spark the riot as Matt's the best heel heat in GCW history? I did watch Gage and Cardona. I'm not a GCW avid viewer like compared to maybe other people, but I did watch that match in particular, among other matches too. But I thought it was the right call going with Cardona. I get maybe that Gage probably lost the title because the following Wednesday he was going to fight Jericho. You don't want your world champion to lose on on cable television, but I think Cardona was the right move anyways. And credit to Cardona, he went through that match and he played along really well, just like Jericho did on Dynamite with Gage as well. They deserve a ton of credit for allowing it to be what it had to be when they could have clearly, as former WWE talent, not played along and just had a safe, hardcore match. They really delved deep into the deathmatch aspect of the thing, so I have to give them credit. Cardona right now is one of the big heels right now in the independent wrestling scene, so if I'm Cardona, I would keep it up. I would redecorate the GCW title. I would ban death matches for every title he defends it with. I'd go the full 180 with it. I would go the full 100 with it. Quincy Brown, are you ready for AEW Rampage? Yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious to see how Rampage does next Friday. Now, it's 1 hour. It'll be after SmackDown. We know the commentary team: Excalibur, Taz, Jericho, and Mark Henry. Personally, I think it'll be probably Taz and Excalibur being the permanent team, and then Jericho and Henry will kind of rotate in and out every week or whatever. But that's me personally, because you cannot do a 4-man team. I don't care how good you are. I don't care how great the chemistry is. You cannot do a 4-man team. There's just no way. At least every week for me personally. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Britt Baker will defend the women's title against Red Velvet. I thought those two had a great promo segment on Dynamite Wednesday, and Britt Baker will be in Pittsburgh. She will be over as fuck. So that'll be a fun hour to watch. It'll be curious to see how WWE will respond, because you know it's coming. I would not even be surprised if there's talks about a third hour for SmackDown, and that the third hour of SmackDown goes on FS1 to combat with Rampage. Don't be surprised with anything. Nobody should be surprised with any petty tactics between WWE and AEW and other companies in 2021. You know better at this point. Let's see here. Ayo Hakeem, I've been lurking for a while, but yeah, the Fed's still into that bullshit. If Punk and Danielson appear on AEW, do you think the Fed is in danger in terms of views? I will tell you this right now. That Rampage at the United Center, where it's rumored that CM Punk is going to come in and debut, that's going to do gangbusters. AEW and Tony Khan have to be given a lot of credit. They have allowed the Punk and Danielson rumors to build buzz and momentum without even saying it officially that they're signed with AEW. Now with Punk, I do believe he's signed. I do believe CM Punk is officially signing with AEW, and I do think he will be at the United Center 2 weeks from tonight, 2 weeks from yesterday, for Rampage. He will be there at the United Center. He will be there at All Out. He'll probably wrestle Darby at that pay-per-view event. It probably will main event too. Because for Punk not to show up, period, it would be career suicide. It would be business suicide for AEW and Tony Khan. But I do think with all the moves that they have made, with a lot of things related to CM Punk and the hits that have been dropped for the past 2 to 3 weeks, he's coming. CM Punk is coming. And it's going to be an iconic moment in the modern professional wrestling world. I think the wrestling world will be tuning in to that Rampage to see what CM Punk does or has to say. Because I think the wrestling world needs to hear it or see it. So, as for Bryan Danielson, look, I have been very adamant to saying that I think Bryan is re-signing with the company, with the WWE. But as the weeks go by, I'm starting to realize, okay, maybe Daniel Bryan is no more, and Bryan Danielson is coming to AEW. It's me more so kind of hoping that I'm wrong than me actually wanting to be right. Like, I would like to see Danielson in AEW. Of course I would. But it's been a wacky period in wrestling. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going on. Bryan, for all I know, could really re-sign with the company. But I probably do bet that he'll probably be at AEW, and he probably will show up at the Arthur Ashe show for Dynamite in New York. So, but yeah, to answer your question, Punk and Danielson, man, put it this way. Look at the momentum AEW have right now without those two. Now add those two on top of that momentum. Exactly. It's going to be a surgical summer for the WWE. You've got football season coming up. Dynamite is inching at your heels in the 18-49 demo. They already beat you in the 35-49 demo with their episode from Wednesday against your Raw and SmackDown from last week. It's coming. It may not be a weekly thing, but it's coming. There will be a time where maybe Dynamite does beat Raw and a SmackDown in the 18-49 demo. And then after that, they might beat them in the viewership as well. That's how much momentum that company has right now. What are your views on backyard wrestling? Is there a place for it to exist, or is it cringy crap that needs to stop? As somebody that, without getting too much into it, as somebody that has participated in backyard wrestling, quote unquote, I do think it's something that has a place initially as a start for your career, but ultimately you would need that wrestling training to go and pursue forward. I'm one of those people that are like, never forget where you come from, because like the Mick Foleys and the Hardy Boys, they all came from backyard wrestling too, and they became to be some of the biggest stars of our industry. So it has a place in a way, but it's not like a legitimate place to where if you all you do is backyard wrestling, you're a wrestler. You got to have the wrestling training. So yes and no, basically. Not sure if anyone asked this, but your thoughts on Davey Richards returning to wrestling. I like it. I am overjoyed that the former American Wolf is back in the independent scene, because goddamn does the independent scene need it. I've had a deal for years recently of all these meme wrestlers, all these wink wrestlers, all these fucking nonsensical gimmicks and below average wrestlers co-opting the independent scene and trying to fool people to thinking they're actually better than what they are. Why? Because they retweet a tweet that you gave towards them? Because they gave you a selfie with them? Because you bought their merch and they want to hang out with you for maybe 5 minutes? They're workers! Wrestlers are workers! Of course they're going to give you a selfie if it means you'll buy their merch and put them over on the internet. Like, what are we doing? Like, you guys should know better. The wrestlers are working you until it's time to call out. It's no different here. Those that claim to be woke and progressive, they're working you too. Those that claim to be patriots and know that like, they're working you too. It's wrestling. It's professional wrestling. Assume it is a work until proven otherwise. That has always been my motto and my mantra, and this does not change anything. But with Davey Richards coming back, it improves the independent scene a lot. And now with these releases from WWE, I do think the independent scene is finally starting to heal. Let's see here. Who's your favorite Joshi wrestler at the moment? To me personally, I think it's Shuri from Stardom. I think Shuri is having a fucking great year. And look, Shuri's always been great. Like, this is not new for anyone that's been following her for all these years. This is the same woman that has had rivalries with and alongside the likes of Asuka from WWE or Hikaru Shida from AEW. So she's always been great. She's a former UFC fighter. So she's legit. But she is having a run this year. You know, whether it's her match from March with the Konami, the obvious critically acclaimed match of Utami in that 5-star matchup, and she's having a run right now in the G1, G1 5-star Grand Prix going on currently. So, yeah, Shuri is currently to me the best Joshi in the world. I think a lot of people will say like Mayo Manomo. Others will say Ryo Mizunami. People will say Maika and Utami. Somebody would say Mayu and Rika from Tokyo Joshi. Somebody say Fujima from Ice Ribbon. But I'm going to stick with her. I think I've been enjoying her work way more than a lot of others. Let's see here. What match are you excited for at ACW High Voltage? To me, I think, me personally, Haru and Natsu. And once the finishing project's put together, you'll see why. Let's see. In your opinion, what would make for a good pro wrestling video game? Not what 2K22 is doing right now, which is nothing. We haven't gotten any updates about W2K22. I told people, including people within the CAW community, that people need to hold their hope and calm down a little bit before claiming that this is going to be a different WWE game. There's no proof that they've given you to think that, and that this is all just bullshit to get your pre-order money. And it's looking like I'm being proven correct here. But look, all you have to do is have good gameplay. Solid enough graphics, good to great gameplay, good mechanics with the controller, good AI system, and a good CAW section, and a good story mode, and that's it. That's all I need. Everything else would be a cherry on top. Everything else would be extra for me. So I'm curious to see how the Wrestling Code from Virtual Basement or the new AEW video game will come out if W2K22 fails. Which, man, it's not looking good, folks. It's really not. You think there's space for another major wrestling promotion in the United States? There's also a lot of good people to sign. I actually do. I do think there is room for a third major wrestling promotion. Now, granted, that would go after AEW more so than WWE, but then WWE would be losing more ground than what they've been able to acquire. So, yeah, I do think with the likes of a lot of these big media conglomerates looking for live content for their streaming services, there's definitely room for a third major wrestling promotion. A lot of these conglomerates are looking for live content. They're looking for live sports for their streaming sites and their streaming services. So, yeah, there's room for it. Now, what that could be, I don't know. That may not exist right now in the current future, but it's definitely there for the taking for whoever wants it. Sasuke, Deku, and Naruto and Luffy being long made sense since they both had built-up stories leading to their match, so I'm good with both of them. Yeah, that's kind of my point. Like, the length of the match depends on the story that you're trying to tell. Like, if you're going into if you're going with a match on CAW or Pro Wrestling that's cold, and you give it, like, a long length of time, that could be at risk of it being too long, unless you're really good. This is going to hurt to ask, but what are your thoughts on 2K19 servers going down soon? They better not. There's no proof that 2K22 is going to be great or innovative or different. And if that's the case, I'm thinking that they're going to try to force you to go to that server anyway. There's no way they're going to hold the 2K19 servers for another year. This was it. And that was only really because of the COVID pandemic. They're going to force you to transition into the 2K22 servers, whether it's good or bad. So, they better hope that shutting down these servers soon means that the game is in prime form. So, NXT UK will die by the end of the year. It won't die by the end of the year, but it's definitely a brand that's nothing. Like with certain exceptions, like a Mako, or like a Maiko, or a Walter, or an Eli Dragunov, those type of talent, they'll find their way in the main roster or at NXT USA or somewhere else. But for a lot of other talent in that brand, they're just basically biding their time in a dark abyss that means nothing, that nobody really watches. It doesn't matter if you have great matches on that brand. If nobody's really watching, who gives a fuck? Who cares if all you have is great matches on that brand? I could go ahead to other promotions that can give me great matches too, but they have other things that I like on top of that as well. Just my opinion. Who is someone that you've always wanted to have an ACW? Well, I can't reveal that because, that would be spoiling future plans, but I will say ACW is coming back this month in August. I will explain maybe down the road why I took a long hiatus than I expected, but we're back. We're coming back. We're coming back. Don't worry about it. Let's see. Britt Baker is the best champion Pittsburgh has had since 2017. Damn. I can't vouch for that. If you can have Punk and Danielson join ROH or AEW, where would you put them? I'd have Punk and Danielson in AEW. I'd have them both in AEW. You don't pass up Punk and Danielson being free agents if you're the second biggest wrestling promotion going right now. I would have them both there. For Punk, I think it's obvious he's going to go after Darby, which is the right call. And for Danielson, people are going to say Kenny, but it's like that feels too soon while Kenny's still the champion. I think after Kenny drops the title to Hangman, probably at Full Gear, maybe you start getting ready for Danielson and Omega at Revolution next year. But if Danielson's coming in, I think maybe Danielson going against, maybe a Malachi Black? Maybe? I don't know. Maybe a Miro. Give Danielson that TNT title like he did with the Pure title, maybe? I don't know. But yeah, that's probably where I would put them. Hey, I like Shuri too ever since her Smash days. Yep. That's right. During her days of Smash and Wave and all those other freelance promotions she did. If Takashita is available for an 8-month for AEW, would you give him a TNT title run? Dude's legit one of the best in the world. Takashita from DDT. Yeah, Konosuke. He made his appearance, I believe, last year or earlier this year. Probably doing more so like Dark and Elevation and stuff like that. But if I had Takashita for 8 months, I would at least, I don't know if I'm giving him a title run, but I'm at least making him a player for the TNT title, for sure. I've advocated on Twitter that I think if there's one company that can do an actual G1 series, right, I think it would be AEW. Now, granted, with network restrictions and other stories taking place during those shows, you might not be able to do it on Dynamite every week like that, but then that's what you would have Rampage and Dark and Elevation for. So, yeah, I think a G1 style, maybe call it Elite 1 or something, for AEW would be something to really witness. But that's just me. And if you do something like that, then you would put Takashita being your DDT representative in that series, in my opinion. Let's see. What if WWE made a game where the roster was similar to Smash Ultimate with exceptions here and there? I actually assume that probably that's what AEW's kind of looking to do. Like, AEW's looking for a Smash Ultimate type game where it's like they got the AEW roster, and then the DLCs will be like wrestlers from New Japan, wrestlers from Impact, wrestlers from NWA, legends that are already on the roster, all that stuff. So I think if there would be any company doing something like that, it would probably be more so AEW than WWE. Last question for me. Is Cody Rhodes retired or not after his loss to Malachi Black? No. Cody Rhodes is currently right now going to take some time off to do the Go Big Show second season taping. He's also got the Roads to the Top reality show to do for TNT. And plus, he just became a new father. He became a father. He became a new parent with the birth of his daughter. So I'm sure he wants to take some time away to spend more time with her. So Malachi Black doing what he did to Cody Rhodes was the right decision. And he's been made to be a star. Cody Rhodes will be back months from now, and he'll be even a bigger star leaving. So there's that. All right, that was looking to be the last question. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank each and every one of you for joining me for this newscast here. Feels great to be back. I know it took a long time to do a new episode of the newscast. I will try to be more available and more approachable to do more episodes of the newscast. We will look to probably do a live reaction for SummerSlam and possibly All Out. I know SummerSlam for sure. All Out, I'm kind of either yay or nay on that. But we will do a live reaction for SummerSlam. I'll have the guests come in and we'll watch SummerSlam and we'll all react towards it and all that stuff. So be on the lookout for that on this channel. If you haven't subscribed to it yet, subscribe to this channel if you are a new viewer. Other than that, and also HCW, I'll give more news about that. But we are coming back this month in August, so just kind of look out for the HCW news and all that stuff. But other than that, that'll be it for me today. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me on this Saturday evening. There you go. You haven't heard that for a while, but thank you for joining me for the Saturday evening. I will see you guys on the next newscast episode, and as always, stay cool. Stay cool. Feels good to be back. See you guys later.